Welcome back to the second episode of my podcast, Open Conversations. Definitely great to have you guys back for the next episode. Today, we're going to be talking about some social politics, uh, primarily within Black and white in America. Uh, going to get in depth more so in the Black community, uh, speak on different topics, figures, and yeah, so let's get right into it. Uh, First topic we're talking about said Black and white in America. Now, I am a first gen American citizen. My parents came here, migrated here, and I was born here in America. So I'm like the real definition of African American, like from the real, you know what I'm saying? So, I was born here, I grew up here in the States. I've been to my nationalities in Cameroon. So I've traveled there. I've definitely experienced life, there. And so I have my own uh, experience and point of view of life there as well, to some degree. But mainly, I spent most of my years in America. So, I'm very familiar with the, American system. I've been living here my whole life for the most part. So, I have my point of view, and in my point of view, I have a unique point of view because, like I said, my parents, they're not originally from here. They weren't born here. I was first generation born here. They were born in Cameroon. So, uh, I grew up, when I would go to, outside in the public, for me, I'm a black kid. Uh, Even though, like I said, I have, my African roots. And so for me, it was a little unique for me because obviously, I am black and I'm African, but when I got around, the kids and that were also black, but again, their parents was, their family and they've been here for years. So the cultures, some differences in culture, you know what I'm saying? So uh but nonetheless, I was black, but I was seen a little different because it was like, you're African, you have African roots, your name is African. That's not familiar with our culture. So it was definitely, I was like, you know, a bit quote unquote like different. I was treated a little differently. But um so you kind of experience that a bit. And then, when I would go back to my home where, when relatives and cousins and stuff would come here and I, would be around them, uh it was still trying to treat it a little differently because I was kind of had more of a American sense, and they might have more of the African rooted sense with them. And so again, I was a little treated a little, a little different too. So I kind of have a unique point of view of things. But as it pertains to back to the top, the original topic, black and white in America. Um, for me, what I realized, the concept of being black and white, it really only applies here in the States. Like if you were to go outside of the States, it's not necessarily black and white. It's like, oh, you're a Nigerian or you're from Ghana or you're from uh I don't know, Jamaica, or like you're not identified. My point is, you're not really identified specifically by color, more so nationality. So that's kind of how you're identified. But here in the States, you're identified by the color, by color, and so that can be somewhat a little conflicting for some people who may come here and are getting adjusted to the States and stuff like that. But for people who are from the States, obviously people obviously know why that's the history and the culture that goes behind being black or white and stuff like that. But so in terms of uh from what I've seen here, it's somewhat of like political in some sense. Like being black and white is in some sense, like from my point, it could be categorized as political groups in some in a way, because there's really no specific uh like ethnicity to black and white. There's just certain, if you check certain boxes, like for example, like obviously generally if you're is based on the tone of your skin color in terms of whether you're black or white, generally speaking. But then there comes certain factors that necessarily don't. It's like, okay, that makes sense. you know my skin tone is a little darker, so I get I'm black. My skin tone is a little lighter, on the fair lighter side, so I'm white. Makes sense. But then you have certain, why I say again, politics, where it's like if you act a certain way, then you're black. So it's like, if you're acting, and this is what gets projected a lot of times, or stereotyped, like if you're acting violent, or if you're a thug, or if you're uh, walking around with your pants sagging, it's like you're black. But if you speak properly, or um, you know, you have certain things, and you act a certain way, then you're white. And so it kind of makes a discrepancy, like, well, what really is black and white? It seems like it's more of a certain fitting, like a status or description that you're fitting to be black or white. It's not really, like I said, like an ethnic, truth, something that really is truth, you know, as it pertains to you per se. It's like you gotta fit certain boxes, you know. Um, but generally, people of African descent are considered black. People of European descent are considered white. Um, but you have, like I said, the way you can be described in certain ways. It's like, well, that's not really represent who I am. You know what I'm saying? But for the sake of understanding pretty much the culture and just the politics, and the ways that things work, you know what I'm saying? It's understanding. It's not really like put down on like written law. Like this is what this, and that again, a lot of the discrimination in terms in America is really rooted in how the policies and laws are set up. Like that kind of it's like the um people's indirect way to discriminate you if you're this tone or you this height, then you uh if you live in this certain neighborhood, then you have to abide by certain policies and laws or some they make these things up. So but uh it's it's definitely something that can be, for myself, obviously. For me, my truth is, I'm African American, but like I said, I understand the ways of this country, like the ways of this country and how um, you know, the political, the political aspect of it. And so I identify as a black man, you know what I'm saying? As well. So uh due to the fact that I, in my opinion, fit certain, descriptions of what it is to be black. Now, again, I do not uh um agree with some of the negative connotations that get projected on what it is to be black, a black man or a black woman. And also in being a white man or being a white woman, because there's also again negative, what I'm saying, things white man can't jump. I mean, there's been that's been proven wrong, obviously, you know. Um and so, you know, it's different or uh white man can't rap it, you got people like Eminem, Mac Miller, you know what I'm saying? Who 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 are great rappers and have flourished well in a dominated quote unquote black uh industry, sport, whatever, however you want to say. And so you have, there's different politics, stereotypes that a lot of times gets projected, not just on one community, but both communities that I simply don't agree with, that aren't true. And yeah, that's just my stance on that. Um, I definitely believe that um, over the years, uh, the relationship between blacks and whites in America has improved to certain degrees. Still, ways and levels to go in terms of that improving some more. And I believe that that's the direction we're gonna go as a country. You know, I think we're gonna prove that. The relationship has uh some painful roots. Obviously with the transactions with the slave trade and coming to the states. To me, you know, the main difference then and now and the improvement is the treatment. I think, the treatment in which, the white America, Caucasians, people of the European descent, from the beginning of slave trade and how blacks slash Africans were treated from that time to now. You know what I'm saying? Blacks and Africans weren't treated well and from during the beginning of the slave trade, they weren't. The main thing was that when I think most people would agree when you look back at the roots is the dehumanization. You know what I'm saying? That took place. But again, like I said, we have as a country, when you look at it objectively, there has been obviously some improvement in the ways and the treatment of blacks in America. And like I said, it's something that needs to continue to improve on. You know what I'm saying? To me, we can improve on certain policies and laws and things like that still. You know what I'm saying? But again, I said there's been over the years policies and laws that weren't at one point were not open to the black community. You know what I'm saying? Like voting and things like of that nature. At a point in time, that wasn't even a privilege. So, obviously with time, history has proven that became a privilege and etc. More and more things. So we want to keep the improvement going. Um, so yeah, that's just my point of view. Um, in a nutshell, again, if people want to come on and speak more about, the topic, definitely welcome to come on and we speak more about it if need be. So, uh, on to the next topic: Black/Afro American culture. Yeah. So I think it's widely known, the culture as it pertains to the United States, America. Um, Over the years, it's shifted to where specifically hip hop culture, which is originally founded and created by blacks, um, African Americans in America. Um, that's the pop culture. That's what's most popular. When you look at the figures who are at the head of hip hop, they're all blacks. Uh, the Kanyes, the Drakes, the Jay-Z's, uh, on and on. Futures. These are the popular. These are the popular people all over in the culture, not just in the States but globally. Um, so it's definitely known that the influence that you know the black culture has on not just the States but all over the world through all various aspects of entertainment, whether it's music, uh, movies, comedy, sports, you name it. At the forefront of doing the handiwork and the work, it's blacks. The ones that's providing that style and pizzazz that we all that's popular is the blacks. You know what I'm saying? Who people want to be like, whether the sneakers people want to wear the Yeezys, people want to wear the Jordans. People want to shoot like Steph. People want to, what I'm saying, play like Jordan. Like, you know what I'm saying? People want to be movie stars like Will Smith. You name it. We're, the black community is at the forefront in terms of the influence. Um, but you know, we make it, influential, but in terms of ownership, in terms of our creativity and what we produce and what we put out there, that's mainly where we're lacking. And that's the thing that, obviously has been somewhat of a renaissance, in recent times where it's like independent ownership, all that dang dash, who's somebody I definitely look up to. And, he's been preaching that way, before it was cool. So, that's like becoming cooler and cooler. Uh, and so that's good for us. It's definitely gonna help us grow as a community. Um, but we just definitely uh gotta just own our content so that we aren't feeling deprived or depressed and feel like we're powerless, when, you know, if we sell our art, what I'm saying? We give our art away and years later, we don't have control over the rights of it. We just have no control. We're just like a pawn and being controlled. So that's the main key uh, that I see, man. We in terms of the music, obviously you got the different genres of hip hop. That's what I would say, and the drill rap is a definitely a popular genre of music that's in the community. Obviously, it's good. There's good records, good sounding records from the drill rap. You know what I'm saying? The artists and stuff. But the only thing is, a lot of the messaging, the content that gets passed in the drill rap can be destructive, not just to the people around us, but ourselves. You know what I'm saying? The artists who are even speaking some of the messaging, as we see a lot of times, they can come back to haunt, haunt us or haunt them. Sorry. So, you know, that's the thing that, as we see that's plaguing the community a lot of ways. Brothers shooting each other, over almost nothing. Stuff that's really, I mean, honestly, if you probably would ask the person, like, for instance, I'm pretty sure if the guy who came and shot or PNB Rock, if he had asked him like, "Yo, can I mean, could could I get your chain for, what I'm saying? I just get your chain instead of, you know, uh hold on a second. Like, I'm pretty sure PNB Rock would have gave his chain away had the dude just not, taking his life away. If that was the extent which things were gonna go. So it just, losing life almost for nothing. You know, yeah, over foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And so next topic, I want to talk about leadership, leadership in the Black / Afro community. Uh, is definitely something that uh should be talked about, and I think that's an area that, as a community, needs a lot of improvement. Uh, if you pay attention to our community, a lot of times what's glorified as the villain or the person who's destroying, and that's kind of been the narrative, and it definitely has it leads the masses, it misleads the masses, of the community. When we think like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, a lot of it is in some sense uh set up that way. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about the black community or your average neighborhood in the black community, uh the person making the most money a lot of times is a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a drug dealer or a basketball player, maybe NBA player or you know what I'm saying, make it to the NFL, something like not again, not all the time, but when we're talking about generally, a lot of the time that's the case. So when you have a lot of times, you said with a drug dealer, or a scammer or something like that, as the person who's making the most money, who's viewed as successful, has the most resources and things like that. Everybody wants to be the person, you know what I'm saying, who's looking good, got stuff going for them. Looks like they got some stuff going for them. So people want to look like that. People want to emulate that end result. And the problem with that is there's 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 actions and repercussions that go into doing what they do to get what they got. And a lot of times that's not taken into consideration till people is in long, possibly died or is in prison. So, uh, it's there's certain things that come with that life. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, like I said, the only thing that's glorified is the glitz, the glamours, the jewelry, the girls, and the lifestyle, which is cool. But then it ends up misleading a lot of cats, like I said, and people end up dead or in prison. And obviously, that's not good for for the community. You know what I'm saying? If that, you know what I'm saying, because that's the main example of success in the community. That's where the masses is going. That's everybody's going to want to be a drug dealer. If everybody's seeing people be, you know, and just being and just see that, oh, only the NBA player, he comes back, he got this car, he got this nice house, whatever. That's all people gonna want to emulate him, just be an NBA player. And again, NBA, definitely would rather a person want to pursue a career in the NBA than drug dealer, because the repercussions of becoming a NBA player isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? It's not physically harmful potentially or anything like that. The common repercussions of being a drug dealer, again, as most will tell you, dead or in jail. You know what I'm saying? It's the same. It's the same messages regardless, dead or in jail. Um, so you know, it's definitely tricky. You know what I'm saying? You got to make your choice. You know what I'm saying? But what the community needs to see more, again, more is leaders in the community in other areas, whether it's real estate, housing, real estate, being a lawyer, being trying to get a position in the local offices, and these examples. And we have seen that in history, you know what I'm saying, but we just need more of it. You know what I'm saying? We need that being the cool thing. That's popular. That's the swag. You know what I'm saying? unillegal things, you know what I'm saying, that you can get paid to do and make a living for yourself and make a living for your family and you know what I'm saying? Like that's what needs to be promoted the most. You know what I'm saying? That needs to be promoted more. You know what I'm saying? But again, there is to some degree, you know, as you see with the media, where media a lot of times is promoting the destruction. You know what I'm saying? The media is promoting having the ops and pulling up and all that. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's what gets promoted more often than not. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I feel like the best leaders set the best examples. You know what I'm saying? The worst leaders set the poorest examples. And so um, you gotta just definitely be mindful of what people say and do, not just actions. I know people love to just say, well, actions speak louder than words. So, but how can you talk to somebody if that's the case? Um, like, you have to pay attention to what people say and what they do. They both matter, not just one, not just what people say, not just what people do. Both of them matter. So, yeah, man, I just definitely think that it's something that can be improved. I think it'll really help us as a whole, as a community. You know what I'm saying? And this doesn't date just to the States. This goes back to in Africa, in terms of leadership as well. That impacts the way that we lead here, whether people, constantly see it or not. It definitely does. You know what I'm saying? The more common form of leadership in Africa is mostly dictatorship, kind of like leadership. It's not really spread about spreading the wealth amongst your people like that. So I already know how this was stemming here in the States. Also, it directly correlates to what's going on in Africa and how, people lead and stuff like that. So, you know, it's 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 the area that I think that we need the most improvement in. And I think we can do it. Just gotta put in that work, set better examples, you know. So next topic. Okay. Addressing the recent Ye and Kyrie situations. Um, for me, both of these dudes definitely standout figures, not just in the black community, but in all communities all over the world and stuff like that. Great at what they do. Um, Kanye, you're a super dope artist. Uh, to me, debatably my favorite. Been my debating my favorite artist of one of my favorite artists of all time. Um, but and I want to address Kanye. Then I'm get talk about the Kyrie. So yeah, Kanye, dope artist, super dope with his creativity, whether it's been with music, clothing, footwear, you name it, he's been dope and producing quality, good product. He's been dope. People can say otherwise and bash the brother over and over. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You just look at the work. The brother got good product. He got creativity. He has a dope vision. Um, so kudos to the brother. But some of his viewpoints politically, and again, it'd be nice if we could move in a space where we could be more agree or disagree and type of mentality. People mostly want to jump to bashing and canceling and all that type of thing. Um, but there's just certain viewpoints that, for me personally, I don't agree with, or I don't really understand the point and what the statement might, what he was trying to say per se, where he was trying to go with the point that he was trying to, the statement he was making. For example, the White Lives Matter uh statement he made. I mean, it's not a lie. It's not like, it's not a true statement to say white lives matter. Like, that's a true statement. But it's like, what's the point? I mean, what, where are you trying to, like, what's, in terms of like, what point are you trying to make? And, what political point? Because it's talking politics, like what political statement was he? I don't know what he was trying to make. And I think that's like the confusion that a lot of people have. Is like, what point are you trying to make? And then it's like, obviously we know the injustices that go on with the black community, and it's been cliche, the and you have the Black Lives Matter thing. Uh Not thing, but you have Black Lives Matter. And so that's been a statement to raise awareness of that fact. And so obviously, you know, I think, for some people, for not a lot, people might have felt it was disingenuous to Black Lives Matter, because Black lives in America have been disenfranchised and abused in a lot of ways. And so it needs to be said and made aware that Black lives do matter. Simple. I mean, in terms of whether it's a scam and all this other stuff, I don't really know the specifics of the whole organization or whatever, but I do get the gist of the saying and what it means. So I just go with that. So, Kanye, uh, I say it just, I just didn't, I didn't necessarily understand the point. And then, uh, in terms of maybe, the way, again, people are entitled to say whatever message they want to say, or whatever, they're entitled to their opinion. I think maybe some of his deliveries to his messages can be a bit, again, you know, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it that way. But that's his way. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go about it in the way he did. You know what I'm saying? To get his message, but that was his way. And again, I just simply just disagree with his way of maybe delivering his message. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying not a bad person or anything like that. It's just I just don't agree. Simple. You know what I'm saying? And he can disagree with me, and that's fine. But uh yeah, it's politics, and it's that's in everything, you know what I'm saying? It just, you don't agree, you're gonna disagree. Most people just want to resort to just bash people's character, and lashing out and stuff like that. But you know, I wish Kanye, the best moving forward. Hope he can, what I'm saying, he's a genius. He's gonna figure something out. He's not, definitely not gonna be out the game. He's super influential. So he'll have his audience, but it definitely, I he it definitely, he to lose those some of those brands that he was associated with, man. It's tough losses. You know what I'm saying? Tough, and oh, he can learn and improve from the situation. Uh, Kyrie, definitely one of my favorite players. Great ball player. Um, Again, another brother who just has a unique point of view in terms of a lot of things. And again, same thing. You can agree or disagree. Like, you don't necessarily have to destroy the man's character and assassinate his character simply due to the fact that you just don't agree with his point of view or his opinion. You just disagree. You know what I'm saying? And again, I can't control people's emotions and feelings. So I'm not gonna sit and say, well, you shouldn't feel offended by what he said. You feel offended. Hey, that's entitled to how you feel. But for me, it just as it pertains to Kyrie, just again a situation where people have different viewpoints, even when it goes back to his situation in terms of his decision to get the vaccine. Like, personally, I would have got the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? If I had to, uh, if it was required for me to get the vaccine to play ball or whatever, play on the basketball team, I would have done that. Okay. But Kyrie didn't want to do that. So that's his right. Like, you, I don't really see, again, it does. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player. It impacts the overall um, success of the team and things of that nature. But it was his choice to not take the vaccine, and he had that choice, and he accepted the repercussions and the consequences that came with that, and he sat it out. And so I don't really, I don't really understand why people are mad at him, because it's like it was his responsibility. Like, it's his responsibility. Like, I don't get it, but hey, it is what it is. But again, for me, he had, maybe some of his viewpoints, I would just say I don't agree with. And he probably would could say the same thing about some I view, how I view it. So I definitely think, again, it'd just be cool if we could get in the common habit of just agreeing or disagreeing. Simple as that. We ain't gotta just destroy people's character. We ain't gotta devalue people. We ain't gotta depreciate people, especially people who do so much for the community, for the culture. Kyrie, you know, the great, phenomenal basketball player, you know, help bring dope sneakers with Nike, Kanye, great music product. These is contributing guys, man. So, um, with their opinions, and like I said, they're entitled to it. You can agree or disagree, man. Keep it like that. You know. Next topic: how we can empower the Black Afro community. For me, we are living in we're all trying to make a living, and so the way that we can help empower each other is help. If you're in a position, um, a high position, So financially and socially, the way that you empower your brother sister is with information, proper information, and uh with an opportunity to do something to get paid. When you look at the Jewish community, everybody wants to, I guess has some sort, jealousy or whatever. I mean, they stick together. They hire each other. They empower each other. The money is circulating amongst them. We don't do that. Our money circulates outside. It's always circulating outside. We don't circulate our money within each other. When one has a brand, wants to start a brand, we don't want to buy it because it's like, oh, it's not this name brand name, or we don't want to circulate our cash with it. We'll go to the a European brand label and spend all our money on them, and then we over here complaining about how the European labels don't appreciate us, and we do this, we spend all this money and X, Y, and Z, but you got your brother or your man's who got his brand, and you don't spend nothing. You know what I'm saying? Then you're wondering why the community is in shambles. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't circulate our wealth amongst each other. And then if we, you know, is in a position, we not hiring each other, we're not giving each other jobs that to do that can help them and help us. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? If you hypothetically, you somebody who's got a Fortune 500, I mean, you making millions, millions in your company. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to hire your cousin, somebody, in your community to help you do something. You pay them. That allows them to, what I'm saying, not that gives them opportunity to not be on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like getting money illegally. Like that be the main way in which we empower each other is if we, empower each other with a plug, and then we end up potentially getting, we in a game, we get locked up or whatever. Like, if we need to empower each other legally, legal business. You know what I'm saying? So we don't end up in debt or in jail. You know what I'm saying? Empower each other in legal business, give each other jobs, pay each other on time, you know, treat each other well. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to help bring better economic wealth in the community. That's what is going to happen. That's what needs to happen. Because that's what the other communities who are flourishing financially, economically, that's what they're doing. They're sharing their wealth amongst each other and at times in other communities, but they keep that, they make sure that wealth is circulating amongst their group, amongst their community. So we got to emulate that if we want to see uh, a better future, man. Otherwise, we're gonna still just be. It's just still gonna be that crabs in a barrel mentality. One person at a really high, status and you know point, and everybody else is just way below. That's just how when you look at it. It's really been, that's the general situation. So um yeah, man, that's my way, that's my idea, that's my view, that's how I see in terms of how we can, you know, empower ourselves. But again, it starts with self. Gotta empower yourself, help yourself before you can go out and you're trying to help someone else. So empower yourself, help yourself, so then you can then help others. So yeah, man. So that concludes the second episode, man. Uh, really hope y'all like it. Listen, learn some things, and yeah, man. I hope that the information, the questions that was I spoke about, and it's something that could be of real thought. Really think about it and apply it in your life. Some things, and you know, uh, just overall, take it in, internalize it. If you want to speak on it, come on. We can speak more on some of these topics because I think they're dope topics. They're relevant to the world and what's going on. So, yeah, man. Thanks again, guys.